Level 1. The Lookout. At 14, nobody recruits you with a solemn speech during school assemblies. A man in a white pickup truck calls out your street nickname through an open car window. He hands you a cheap burner phone with a single saved contact on the list. Your job is simple. Text them whenever police cars roll into the neighborhood. For this easy gig, you get $40 at the end of every work week. That cash completely changes things for a household where your mom works 2 jobs. You convince yourself this street side hustle is just a temporary fix for money trouble. A month later, your handler praises your sharp eye and gives you 3 intersections to watch. Now you run younger kids, teaching them secret codes and shift schedules. You think you're a successful businessman, but you're still the cheapest, most disposable pawn on the board. Level 2. The Soldier. At 17, a stranger drives you 40 miles deep into the wooded mountains. In a clearing near a ranch, you're handed an AK-47 assault rifle. This reliable weapon makes up over 60% of all guns seized by American police. For 3 straight weeks, you learn to field strip the rifle in under a minute. The golden rule of survival. Always locate the emergency exits the moment you enter a new room. They pay you $500 a month and issue you a pair of solid tactical boots. Your first real assignment is guarding a stash house in the suburbs of a major metropolis around the clock. You stand by the heavy steel door for hours, never asking what's inside the boxes. When one soldier suddenly disappears, his gear is immediately handed to the next recruit. The ultimate skill in this brutal trade isn't violence, it's silence. Level 3. The Hitman. At 21, higher-ups take notice of your ice-cold composure during a drive-by. A seasoned mentor teaches you how to shadow a target through 3 days of non-stop surveillance. Painstaking prep takes up 90% of the job. The hit itself takes only seconds. Your first contract comes with just a photo, a car description, and a parking spot number. You follow orders to the letter and find an envelope with $1,000 waiting on the seat. Over 18 months, you eliminate 11 targets while staying completely clean from booze and drugs. Every Sunday, you call your mom and lie about working for an out-of-state logistics firm. She stops asking where the monthly wire transfers come from. You draw a sharp line between your bloody work and your true personal identity. That mental boundary keeps you sane, because crossing it means instant death. Level 4. The Cell Leader. At 25, you're put in charge of a 6-man crew of operatives. The new title isn't a step up in status, it's total personal accountability for everyone else's screw-ups. One of your guys is hitting the bottle too hard, and another shows unpredictable, dangerous aggression. Meanwhile, the youngest kid reminds you of yourself when you first stepped onto the pavement. You organize payouts, sign off on risky runs, and push reports up to syndicate high command. Real authority isn't built on intimidation. It comes from systematic discipline and total control. After a hothead pulls a reckless stunt, you quietly ship him off to a neighboring state overnight. Now 3 major city sectors and their collection schedules fall under your command. You sleep barely 4 hours a day, keeping eyes on every movement and route. You boss around older men because real results are the only currency the syndicate respects. Level 5. The Territory Boss. At 30, you head a major transport hub right by a bustling Pacific shipping port. As Territory Chief, you collect mandatory street tax from every illicit operation in the area. Your monthly take is more than your father made in 3 years of honest hard work. To clean the money, you launch a legit trucking company running high-capacity refrigerated trailers. You sit in business meetings and shake hands with city officials who know the deal all too well. The local police chief tips you off whenever federal agents plan a surprise raid. An aggressive rival crew starts stepping into your turf, dropping bodies along the interstate. You call headquarters for backup and get a clear order. Hold the line at all costs. You sleep even less now and shrink your inner circle down to almost nobody. The best territory bosses don't just expand territory. They keep problems off the top brass's desk. Level 6. The Logistics Operator. At 35, you run intricate international supply lines for narcotics distribution. You live in an exclusive gated community with a business card reading Import Consultant. Your kids attend elite private schools while you oversee 3 massive freight networks. You funnel millions in cash through currency exchanges, turning dirty bills into clean revenue. You haven't held a gun in 5 years, but you hold a lethal amount of classified intelligence. A sudden blackout from a key driver tells you one of your main corridors has been compromised. You reroute transit lines instantly and burn compromised phone lines to keep the network safe. Federal agents drag your main contact in during a massive multi-agency sting operation. You go to church every Sunday, keeping a hidden stash of pristine fake civilian IDs just in case. No legitimate paperwork or fortune ever grants true safety in this business. Level 7. The Regional Commander. At 40, you command 7 major sectors across 3 border states. Hundreds of personnel report to your division, from lookout networks to hit squads. You constantly rotate hotel suites and motorcades to stay ahead of rival hits. The modern syndicate rests on infrastructure laid down back in the 1980s. A single decision to pivot your transport routes instantly ripples across markets in 3 states. One of your regional managers starts skimming profits from joint black market operations. You build an airtight file on his betrayal and present it directly to the syndicate council. Following a closed-door meeting, the corrupt manager vanishes without a trace or explanation. Your power is only borrowed from an organization that always reclaims what's theirs. You don't take direct orders anymore. You execute high-level strategic directives. Level 8. The Deputy Boss. At 45, you sit on the 4-man executive council running the entire criminal enterprise. Top leadership is deliberately decentralized, so the arrest of one Don can't crash the whole machine. Your family lives abroad in a country with no extradition treaty with the United States. You haven't hugged your kids in person for 16 long, grueling months. Federal organized crime task forces have a classified jacket on you under an alias. Thoughts of that file keep you awake every night between 2 and 4 in the morning. The arrest of a longtime lieutenant forces an immediate overhaul of your security protocols. You feel no human grief or pity, only a cold, functional sense of urgency. A hardened instinct for survival has kept you breathing through 30 years in the shadows. At the peak of the underworld ladder, you realize you're the most isolated man alive. Level 9. The Cartel Boss. At 50, your name is whispered in classified briefings at the Senate and Interpol. Nobody has snapped a photo of you in 20 years, and the old mugshots are faded and useless. You set pricing across major distribution arteries and manage direct ties with Colombian suppliers. The syndicate sources chemical precursors from China to manufacture next-gen synthetic opioids. You authorize only major strategic acts of force that reshape regional power maps. You hop between South American safe houses, traveling under 6 bulletproof identities. History proves every famous kingpin eventually turns into a federal case number. You trust only 4 people on Earth, including your attorney and a lifelong brother-in-arms. What scares you most isn't the law. It's how soundly you sleep after ordering blood in the streets. Your life is pure risk mitigation with 0 margin for error. Level 10. The Boss of Bosses. At 55, your private security detail simply fails to show up for morning shift. An encrypted phone pings with a 3-word message telling you to go dark immediately. The syndicate operates as a loose confederation where power shifts without warning or noise. Law enforcement won't take you down physically. Your political ties run too deep for that. You're quietly escorted to a remote estate guarded by silent, unfamiliar faces. Every fake passport and contact line you built gets bricked within your first week there. Your successor moves right into your cartel assets, routes, and decades of built-in ties. Every morning you walk the estate grounds, reading intelligence summaries prepared by strangers. You started as a corner lookout and ended up as strategic ballast for a massive system. The machine doesn't punish mistakes. It simply erases liabilities to stay out of the spotlight.